Madam Toastmasters, fellow members, guests. I'd like to begin with a confession. I always thought that I would be the really cool parent. I would keep up with technology, not like my mom. I would know how to use emojis, and I would understand why people film themselves reacting to other people's reactions. Well, my children recently informed me very gently that my vocabulary has probably expired since they've been born. I kind of like to blame this on them because I've also stopped reading my emails, I've stopped with the social media, but I digress. My children have actually become my mentors. Not for life philosophy or investment strategies, let's not get carried away, for something more crucial, staying up to date with the modern lingo. Here I have a 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 10-year-old. These kids are prime for that modern lingo. And at some point, all of this slang has become a second language. And it's different than when I would like to say it's different than when I was growing up because everything is evolving that much faster. And in this case, I need those mentors. So how are my kids mentors? Let's talk about their first trait. Keeping me informed. A good mentor stays on top of the trends. My children give me real-time updates. Let's go through some examples. Riz. How many people have heard that word before? All right. I think you all have Riz, not me. Back in my day, this was, you would call people cool. That was good. When my son says, Mom, you cooked, it's not that he was really excited about what I cooked. He just meant that I nailed it. I did something really well. When we're talking and I say, would you like to go to the store with me? And he says, bet. It doesn't mean that we're going to flip the coin, whether or not, are we going to gamble? Is he coming with me or not? That means sure. Okay. I tried to use it in a meeting once, and I'll tell you, my coworkers have not recovered since. How about no cap? Anybody hear that one before? That one means no lie. So when I try to assure them of something and I say no cap, they kind of are a little bit silent and say, you're not using it the right way. But sigma, this one really gets me because we know alpha, we know beta. These are the people, top dogs, the ones right after. Sigma. You would think if we're going in Greek order that it wouldn't be sigma, but sigma means cool. It doesn't mean you're still top dog, but you're doing your own thing. You're not adding to anything as you would think if you were using it in math, which leads me to skibbity. All those other ones that I just went through, those ones have meaning. When you talk about words, I guess we would call it a word, skibbity, it's actually nonsensical. And this is the world that I can't get a grasp on. But skibbity context depends on where you're throwing it in. And I don't really quite understand it, but the great one that came out last year, the word of the year per dictionary.com was 67. This number was the word of the year. And you ask the kids, what does that mean? They say 67 because that's what it is. So let's get to the second thing that mentors do. They correct you. When 67 came out, this wasn't a 67. It wasn't 6 plus 7. You have to make sure you say it just right. It's the 6-7. And if you don't do this, then you're just not part of the in-group. I remember we went to McDonald's one time. And the thing about this one is that it's so widespread. We went to McDonald's. School had just started. Somebody's number was order number 67. And you hear all the kids yelling out, 6-7, 6-7. And you're like, these kids definitely don't go to the same school as my kids. So I text my friend who teaches second and fourth grade down in Southern California. And she was like, yeah, it's a thing out here too. And it's amazing how all this nonsense has made it so widespread. But when I use it wrong, my kids are patient. I might not use it correctly, and they might kind of scuffle a little and think, wow, but it's a non-judgmental pause. It's more like that pause before your laptop crashes, where you know it's going downhill, but they don't outright beep at you. So what else do my kids do is they actually encourage me to practice this. They give me these opportunities to learn. It's like when I let them buckle themselves in the car or tie their shoelaces, try to run those Heelys on their own, I give them space and they give me space. So when I say something like the Super Bowl was fire, they'll nod. They'll be like, yeah, okay, that's acceptable. But when I finally use it correctly, they act like I've unlocked this whole new level of a video game. And that is the language mastery achieved that I'm looking for. What I like about it is that they're not, again, it's not non-judgmental, but it's judgmental light. They never shame me for encouraging. So when I try to explain again at dinner after I've cooked it that it was bussing the green bean casserole, they don't tell me to stop, but I'll tell you, sometimes we laugh so hard that it's probably best that I don't bring it to the dinner table. So, what else have I learned is that not only have I always wanted to raise kids to teach them how to be polite, how to pick up their toys and migrate to the living room, how to cross the street and look both ways, but they're the ones that are helping me expand my world and keeping me up to date. One slang word, maybe one confused facial expression, and one, mom, you can't say it that way at a time. And thanks to my children, I'd like to think that I'm 12% cooler, maybe 67% more culturally literate, and 89% less likely to embarrass myself on the internet. So to my kids, thank you for keeping me current. Thank you for your patience. And honestly, I think I really cooked this one, no cap.